Got my machine restarted. Sorry about that interruption. Just got a little overheated there. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save this. So let's see. Oops. Here we go. File. Save. And I'm gonna save this as in week 4 bottles. Bottle. Hey, crazy. Okay, bottle. There we go. Illustrator, good. So now I've got an Illustrator design that is a bottle. All right, I'm gonna select it all again. And I can see this time when I select it, see how it's got that box around the outside? So I know it's one continuous piece, one continuous path. And that's very important when you're trying to use the software. So I go to Window, Esco, Studio Toolkit for Labels, Revolve and Add Labels. And again, you can see that the revolving does some very funky little things. You can make the complexity higher, you can make it less. It's up to you. I usually just keep it at medium. If you don't like something that you've chosen, you can revolve it again. Go back and forth. This is basically the design that I was looking for. So I'm going to click on my material. I'm going to choose a glossy plastic this time. I'm going to pick a color that's a nice blue and say OK. And I'm going to say, now it's got part 1 of 3. So it's got different shapes in my file. So it's showing me that there's one there, there's one there, and there's one there. So I can choose which shape appearance I want. I like 2. I think that's a prettier one. So we're going to go with that. Now that I've got my second shape, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place a label at the base of this bottle. So I'm going to take one of these, let's see, I'm going to go all the way around. Now I'm just going to do a front label. Now you can see the front label, it starts out and it's got these little red dots, and these little red dots help you figure out the height. Now one of the things I hope you saw there is I started out and it's just all white inside my label area. But it says the label requires too much distortion. So when I pull the top of that label down and I say allow distortion to fit the shape, this label is distorted to fit the shape, but it's not too much. It's got a maximum distortion of 2%, and you can see that what's going to happen is that this label, the shape that it's going to make for this label, is not going to be a true rectangle. It's going to have some shaping, some warping to it, so that when I put in my text, it allows the text to set on the bottle in such a way that it will look like it is a flat label. It will look like it's supposed to look. And as I change the height, as I change the location, where that warping is moves around. So I'm happy with that location for that one. So that's my front label. I'm going to add another one on top. And this one I want to have at the top part of the bottle, not at the bottom part. So I'm going to move this one up. And you can see there's quite a bit of distortion happening in this one. And depending on where I put the bottom of this, that distortion can alter quite a bit. So I can get rid of the distortion if I want to by just kind of moving where it's located. There is going to be some distortion. You can see that around these parts, right? There's some change that's going to be happening from one piece to the next and from where it is. But I just want to get this set up so that it allows it to exist. It's not having any issues with it. If there is distortion that happens, that it's taking that into consideration, right, and making that happen. And so I'm going to save these as labels. And this is going to save these as a Collada file, which is a DAE file. So we're going to say save. And we're going to say open in a new document. We want to open these in a new document because we want to make sure that everything is manipulatable. It's very important that everything can be manipulatable. So printable part, the Collada file has multiple parts. We've got 2 labels that we've included in this. So we have to choose which one is it that we want to use first. So I've chosen the front label. And what you can see here is that while there is a shape to this label, there's also an internal shape to it. And so that internal shape shows us some of the warping that's going to happen as we use this label. So I'm going to get my text tool just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. Okay, so I've got some text in here now. Get a nice larger kind of thicker or something. That one's pretty good, I guess. It's boring, but okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to, I don't like news, that just sounds boring. Okay. Let's see. I think that one's pretty. And so, you know, I like to just kind of, again, you guys know me, right? I want to go through different stuff. Murray Hill, my dad used to work there. Let's click that. All right, let's make it a little bit bigger. Now, this typeface isn't necessarily one that I would recommend for a lot of different things, because really it's something that is very specific use to it, right? You can kind of tell that it's really got a specific use. And making sure, notice how when I did that centered, it all moved over. It's because of where the box is, right? Where do I have the box for this artwork? So I want to make sure that my box is located in the appropriate space, but I don't want my artwork to go past where these lines are, right? So I need to take this and make sure that I shrink it down so that my text stays within the allotted space. And I want to look at it. Just because this says that this is the center, see how close I am to the top because of this bending and how far I am from the bottom? So make sure you take the time to just kind of look at your placement. Don't let the computer tell you what to do. You tell the computer what you want to do. And it's something that you got to really practice that eye, because how you look at things, the kerning of things, can be very difficult unless you spend the time and take the time to get to do it right. So I'm going to take this one. I like this as a good front label. So I'm going to save this as my front label. Okay. And now when I go to Window, Esco, Studio Designer, Show Studio, you'll see that it's placed this label onto my bottle. And so there it is. I've got my label, I've got it on my bottle, and it's set up very nicely. Now I want to do the next label. Well, where is that? That next label, when I clicked on it in the designer, I don't have that part open. Remember, it asked me which one I wanted to open. So I opened the first one. Now I'm going to say, oh, I want to open this and create a new empty document for it, because again, I want to be able to play with these things. I want them to go where I want them to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this label next, and I'm going to fill some working on here. My computer is sounding rather furious, so I'm not sure if it's going to last too long, so I'm just going to make a quick star on this. And hope that won't overpower it too much. Fill that in with a nice cougar red. Okay. All right, now when I hit this refresh button on my Design Studio, you can see it's got both labels included on my bottle. And with this, once I have these two labels done, I am going to take this document, clicking on that menu tab on the right. I am going to export as a 3D PDF. I'm going to make sure I have my graphics set at 244. If you want to add a footer or something, you can. I'm going to save this as to label bottle. And now that file is saved for me. So that's how you make a bottle with two labels. Make sure you go back in, and now that you've got this top label done and created, save that top label design so that you can get back to it. Remember, I called the other label front label. I'm going to call this one top label. And now I've got the artwork so that if I need to go in and make a change to it, I can, and it won't hurt anything. I can even go back to this front label that I've got, go back into my text here. Oops, didn't want to do that. Yuckies. Okay. All right, so I've got this text, and I can take this GoTo's text, and I can say, I don't want that to be black. I want that to be, I don't know, I like that dark red. There we go. Different red for me, that's okay. And again, update. And it takes it and it updates it on my artwork there. So play with it, find things that you like, see what it does as you turn the bottle around, how things look, make some labels that go all the way around. Feel free to make a top label or bottom label. If you want to, for extra credit, one of the things that you can do is create two separate parts to the bottle. Create one connected line that is the bottom half, and then make a separate line, but keep it connected, for a lid, for a sealing onto it. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to figure out how to do that. Work with your classmates, work with your friends, talk to each other, but you can put more than one piece together and have different types of bottles with different layers within them, which can be a lot of fun. And that's a challenge that I want to pose to you guys to do that. All right, go ahead, work on your bottles for this class. You should have 2 different bottles, 2 different shapes. They should each have 2 different labels on them. Save those PDF files and upload those for me to Blackboard. Thanks.